What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another video from the 10-7 MMA channel, and we have another mini little beef that I thought was worthwhile to explore because, once again, it involves Ariel Helwani. For those of you guys who don't know, the name of this YouTube channel, 10-7 MMA, comes from Ariel's show, where when he gets into these frequent, I shouldn't say frequent, but more frequent than other MMA journalists, we could say, when he gets into these more regular beefs, he likes to say that when he wins the beefs or when he believes he wins, he doles out 10-7s, right? A very dominant round. And he's doling out 10-7 victories to the likes of Brendan Schaub, Paddy Pimblett, etc. And I'll agree with actually some of those online beefs and online feuds. But this one is a little bit different. This is interesting. He had a little showdown with Paulie Malignaggi. I can't remember how to pronounce his name, but he's a boxer that rose to fame, at least in the MMA community, because he sparred with Conor when he was preparing for Floyd Mayweather. Conor kind of played him and made it seem like he knocked out Paulie Malignaggi. And I think, Paulie came out pretty quickly and said, hey, they released like little bits of footage. They made it seem like something happened that didn't happen. I actually believe Paulie because Conor, I do think, is not opposed to betting the truth and saying what he needs to say to promote a fight. So I actually believe Paulie, and it is what it is. But anyways, in this episode, Ariel's interviewing Paulie as he's returning to boxing. And as he's coming back, sorry, my dog is crying. It's okay, Babu. And as he's coming back and returning, he's now wanted to get on, come on Ariel's show to talk about it. And they get into a moment where Ariel asks him about Dana White entering the world of boxing. And this goes into a very interesting conversation about MMA journalists in general. So let's listen to this, and then I'm going to comment, because Ariel is claiming that he got a 10-7 victory. I don't know. I actually think Paulie got in something that was a pretty important point, but Ariel essentially just sidestepped it. It was more of like a debate tactic. I think that Ariel always says you got to come with facts if you're going to come at me. And actually, I think he brought up a good fact, but Ariel very cleverly sidestepped it. It almost like gaslighted him, which he does often to people when he gets in the midst of a debate with a guest online. He has in the past even gaslit people to the point where, at least from my vantage point, where he's even kind of made it seem like they've said something not so great, like a la Jamal Hill with the Dana White incident, gaslit DDP a little bit. And here he didn't exactly put anything terrible or negative in Paulie's mouth, which is coming out of Paulie's mouth, which is a good thing. But he did employ some little, I feel like, sneaky tactics to sidestep what Paulie was getting. And so anyways, I want to play this and I'll let you guys decide for yourself, but we're going to talk about it after you hear this quick clip. Check it out.
We're hearing what Dana is saying about the promotion, the amount of events, contender series. Like, how do you feel about their entry into the world of boxing?
Ariel, I don't know if you want to go down this road with me, man. I got a respect for you, but as a person, but as media, I see you as sort of the rest of the guys in the media. You guys don't ask the tough questions. You guys are a bit of kind of kiss asses.
Me.
And when it comes to you guys too, I mean, Dana, do you ever ask?
Okay, so let's pause it here. So he's talking in regards to Dana. Now, it is true that Paulie did not have his facts correct here, because Ariel hasn't sat down and talked to and interviewed Dana in 9 or 10 years, right? Something like 9 years, I believe, since 2016. So it has been a while since he's sat down and interviewed him. But when he did used to interview him, when he had a good relationship, you could say he asked like semi-tough questions near the end as the relationship began to get frayed. But I do think when Ariel has good relationships with people, this is the larger point. When he has good relationships with people, he probably doesn't ask those tough questions. Is he going to ask tough questions to Ilia Topuria, to Conor McGregor, to these big stars that he has phenomenal relationships? No. But at the same time, I don't begrudge him for it. I actually would do the same thing. It's his show. He's not beholden to ESPN or anybody else or even the MMA fan base. It's his show. It's his relationships. He can ask what he wants. I would do the same thing. I wouldn't want to ask questions that would piss off fighters or piss off people or put them in weird positions. So I actually totally understand. I wish Ariel would just be like, look, it's my show. I can do what I want. So anyways, my point is I think Paulie eventually gets to an interesting point, but I think that anyways, I would say whatever. Ariel can do what he wants. Sorry. All right. I'm going to play this clip. I got to get my dog because he's really crying. 1 sec.
Dana the tough question. Do you ever push back on Dana? You ever push
Bro,
back on Dana?
I haven't been to a
Dana
UFC
gives a lot of
event.
bullshit answers.
I haven't been to a
Dana
UFC
lies
event.
and gives a lot of bullshit answers to people, and nobody pushes back. Like, he
Bro.
literally lies. You know he's lying. He'll answer the question for me. I'm not saying necessarily you, but just a person in the media. They know he's lying when he answers the question, and they don't say, "Dude, you're lying. Come on." Like that. It's like this. It's not like that. Instead of they'll just take the answer at his word for it, even despite knowing he's lying. They're just happy they got to ask a question to the fascinating Dana White. Dude, if a guy lies to your face, he has no respect for you. So, and he has no respect for the fan base, right? So the guy constantly lies. So,
wait, one second. Before you continue, with all due respect, if you're going to say that, come with facts and come with your research. The last time I spoke to Dana White was 2016. The last time I did an interview with Dana White was 2016. Are you referring to an interview that I did with Dana White in 2016? You're obviously not. The last time I went to a UFC.
Look at Paulie's face. He's literally like confused because I don't think he realizes that Ariel, he doesn't know the backstory between Ariel and Dana White. And so look at him. It's so funny. He's like, wait, what's going on?
The event was 2020. So, Paulie, with all due respect, don't be disrespectful. You don't know what you're talking about. I don't go to UFC events. I don't go to UFC events. I'm not the dudes you're talking about. So don't let me in with them. I understand what you're saying, and I'm critical of them. But don't let me in with the guys because you have no idea what you're talking about. I haven't been to a UFC event in 5 years.
Okay, so I won't lump you in with the Dana.
Thank you.
But the same applies to you when you ask Conor McGregor questions. He's a bullshit artist, and you know.
I haven't talked to him in 2.5 years, but fair.
You know he was bullshitting you, and you just took the responses at face value instead of giving.
So now you're moving the goalposts. Now you're moving the goalposts.
I'm not even saying pushback.
Like, that's what I mean. Okay, it's not the craziest tactic. Everybody's saying, "Hey, he's trying to dodge that specific question." You're moving the goalpost, right? Because you were talking about Dana White, which I get, like, he kind of is, but he's still talking about the same thing. So now he's talking about Dana White switching over to Conor McGregor. He's saying the same idea that you're not pushing back and asking the tough questions. Again, in Ariel's defense, it's his show, it's his guests, it's his relationships. Why does he have to ask the tough questions? Like, I know he prides himself on being a journalist, and he talks about it all the time. I think this is why people get upset with sometimes the way he conducts his interviews or when he shows favoritism, because when other content creators clearly show favoritism, I think it's actually kind of cool. Like, you can see they have a relationship, they have a friendship, a little bit of bias, a little bit of friendship creeps in to their not necessarily the analysis of the fight predictions, but in terms of talking about the fights and the fighters when they have a connection. I actually kind of like that. So I see that Ariel has that with certain fighters. I don't mind it. I almost wish Ariel would just say, yeah, so what? It's my show. Nobody can tell me what to do. I run the ship. I can interview how I want. You know what I'm saying? But anyways, so we shall continue. But that was that little sidestep. Maybe calling it gaslight that's definitely an overt exaggeration in this case, but you can see what he's doing is trying to maneuver a little bit a la a politician.
No, hold on.
I'm talking about Dana White getting into boxing. What does that have to do with Conor McGregor? Do you not have respect for me as an interviewer? Why are you here?
I'm not that guy. You're not that guy with Dana White, but you're still that guy.
Also, it's adding on to all that stuff. So what, you don't have respect for me as an interview, and then why are you here like adding on like multiple lines of logic of being like, hey, okay, let's move away from this topic, but hey, so what, you're saying that I'm bad, and you're saying, well, then why are you even here? You shouldn't be here, but not really obviously addressing any of the questions or comments that Paulie brought up.
Well, you guys in the media are all that guy.
Why are you?
I don't play the media game. I don't play the media game because
you're in the media. You're in the media.
Yeah, I'm in the media. It's a hobby for me. What
are you talking about? You're talking about making money.
I don't need to go to. Okay, it's about making money. Everything's about making money, Ariel.
What are you talking about? Everything's about making. You're the one talking.
It's not about making money. It's not everything's about making.
You were just talking at the beginning about moving and investments and going to Italy. What are you talking about? You're the one that brought up money at the beginning of this.
No, you asked me the question what it was, okay, and I told you it's a part of it is that, and a part of it is
okay. But you did bring up money.
On the money. It's always, don't need to always harp on the money. The money was a part of it. That wasn't the only response I gave you, Ariel. Anyway,
you say that being in media is hobby. So what is your day job? Like what is not your hobby? What's your professional career then?
Paulie TV is my hobby. ProBox TV is my day job.
Okay, that's
Paulie
media.
That's media, yeah. But
they're both media.
I do media at my way. Nobody tells me what to do or how to do it. That's why I don't get invited to the credential list and everything else, because I do media my way.
Okay.
People know I'm going to push back. People know I'm going to say what I'm going to say. People know they can't control me, and people know I'm going to speak up when something's wrong. So therefore, I don't get.
I mean, you could actually say the same thing about Ariel, dude. He does push back. He does speak, maybe not in the way that you would want him to do it, right? Maybe not in the way he's pushing back against Conor or Ilya, or these guys that, like, I mean, what is there to push back with Dustin Poirier? But like guys like that who he has great relationships with. But I would say actually it's very similar. Ariel has been pushed out of a lot of places because he's not afraid to ask more abrasive questions and rub people the wrong way and eventually get asked to leave from events. So actually, kind of similar. And I would say, I don't know. I don't listen to Paulie's journalism that much or his interviews because he's probably doing it in boxing. I don't really watch boxing, but I think actually Ariel totally aligns with what Paulie is trying to say about himself right here.
Get invited. So therefore, that's why I say it's a hobby. Because for me, at ProBox TV,
You're still doing
I get
media.
the respect I deserve. And yes, okay, good point. But I get the respect I deserve. I don't have to be told to say this or stay away from this. I can do whatever I want.
And you're saying we do here? You're saying we do here?
Ariel, again,
what's your
I'm
beef?
saying there are certain questions that you guys don't ask certain people. That's all I'm going to say. Okay, and I can't be that guy. I am not that guy. I am not that. So I don't know how we even got on this topic. You asked me a question.
I asked you a question about Dana White getting into it, and you said you want to go down this path because I offer him softballs. I haven't talked to the guy in almost 10 years. 10 years I haven't talked to him.
Let's go to Dana White conversation. Yeah, with Dana White, I stand corrected.
Okay, so then now he comes back full circle, says he stands corrected. Ariel hasn't talked to him. Anyways, there's our little skirmish. Would I call this a 10-7? No, I wouldn't call this a 10-7 by Ariel. I wouldn't even call this a 10-7 by Paulie. It's kind of a random argument, a moot point. I think Paulie brought up something valid. Yeah, I think we see that when Ariel interviews Conor McGregor, he doesn't ask the tough questions, but Conor's a big star. He's got a great relationship with him. I don't have a problem with it. I think and even if sometimes Ariel doesn't ask the most crazy, it's funny that Paulie's saying this to Ariel because Ariel always gets criticized for asking questions that quote unquote stir the pot, right? But I don't really think at the end of the day that he has to ask those tough questions to Conor or anybody else that he has a good relationship with. He's still, and to his credit, he still provides great interviews. That being said, this is not a 10-7. Maybe it's a 10-9, you could say. So a slight victory for Ariel, but not a major victory. I think Paulie had his point. He had a big incorrect statement at the beginning about Ariel and Dana White. I think he didn't realize that relationship had long ago soured. So anyways, there's your little summary. But wanted to bring you guys a quick little beef, a little 10-7 beef, if you will, although it didn't really hit that mark of the 10-7 name. But there you go. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Do you think I'm wrong? Do you think Ariel really slammed Paulie here? Do you think Paulie got Ariel? Do you think it was a bit of a draw? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Thank you guys so much for joining, and we'll see you in the next video. Take it easy.